Boom, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Spook Realm 4Q, you are once again back to back weeks. You fell off one week, but you came back strong. Number one. And PSA, get the book. The link is in the description below. If you don't have the book, you already know the drill. My brother's name is Kenny. Get the book. Please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. So we could have like-minded people join the show. Last but not least, big up to the Rewind crew. And I wanted to say, before I go any further, that next Tuesday, I will not be on the show. We will not have a show next Tuesday because I will be DJing in New York City at Bryant Park. We're doing vinyl nights. Shout out to DJ Misbehavior. Shout out Operator M. Shout out Rebecca Lynn. We'll be at Bryant Park near Times Square on 40, I think it's on 41st. It's going to be outdoors, but in an indoor part. I think there's the skating rink there. Rocking the vinyl. I'll be doing all 45s. We're playing a lot of funk, dance, disco type music, a little hip hop, whatever goes, whatever rocks the party, we will be playing. And so I don't think I'll be getting home until about 10, 11 o'clock on Tuesday evening. So either I'm not going to do this Tuesday. I might just skip a Tuesday, even though we've had a nice streak. This might break the streak. Or I might just push it to Wednesday. Instead of Tuesday, we might just do a Wednesday. I might do a Wednesday, next Wednesday. But I will remind you guys again on Friday. Rock Justice Hip Hop, what up? Abel Valdez kicking off the show early. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. As usual, much, 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 much appreciated. Oh, let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see. Abdullah Muhammad, what up? B-Ball Jonesin, what up? Supreme Divine, what up? Explicit, the MC, what's good? See if I can go through this quick and not far. There's one day I'm not going to be behind you. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm. That's the goal each week. Rasul Hassan, what up, KP? RIP to Calbo, other French rap duo Arsenic. I'm not familiar with their group, but rest in peace to that brother. Another of our hip hop family, even overseas. Condolences to the family from the Kenny Parker Show. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Rasul. Let's see. Gregory Nettis, did I say your name? What up? Rosmel, what up? I'm moving quick here today. Am I moving quick? Spook Realm says Three's Company, Roper versus Furley and Chrissy versus Cindy and Tara. There's no competition, man. I actually liked Furley. Furley was cool, but he's not the Ropers. And I remember they did not want to have their own spin-off show. And if I know the story correctly, the Ropers did not want to have a spin-off show, but they were promised that if the show didn't work, they could come back to Three's Company. And so they took the spin-off show. It didn't work, and then they weren't allowed back, so they wrote them out of the show. The Ropers were a major part of Three's Company, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, and was a number one show, I believe, for like 3 or 4 years straight. That was a huge show. And I always mention on this channel that I met John Ritter, rest in peace. I think I told y'all that story. Briefly, I'll say it quick. We did Earth Day. BDP was the only rap group. We were like the only rap group on the Earth Day concerts for a few years. Um, and Chris used to do an a cappella, the song he has called Beef from the Edutainment album. He used to do that song Beef, for those that know it. Beef, what a relief. That record used to destroy Earth Day, as you could imagine. And the conscious messages that KRS had went very well with Earth Day. Um, and we were in the trailer, and not trailer, at tents. And in the tent, who walks in? John Ritter, giving out T-shirts with some kind of saying on it. It was like Earth Day T-shirts, and he walks right in our tent, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Jack from Three's Company," and he's like, "Would you like a shirt?" I was like, "I'll take a shirt." I was the only one. He was giving shirts, and nobody in our tent wanted a shirt. I was like, "I'll take one," and he was like, Will you really wear it?" And I said, "I'll really wear it." And so John Ritter hit me off with an Earth Day shirt, and I wore it. So I got to meet him, but that's just funny that I see you guys talking about this. And Chrissy, that's not even a competition. Unfortunately, for oh my God, how can I not remember? Suzanne Summers, she stood up for more money, and she called the bluff of the television studio for more money, and they called her bluff by writing her out of the show. I believe her husband was her manager, and the two of them tried to get more money out of the television studio, and they simply wrote her out of the show. I think the show was never really the same without Chrissy, and it definitely wasn't the same without the Ropers, but it was still good. All right. I just went into a little winded thing on that. That was one of my shows, though. Uh, I'm not that far behind, but we'll see. Kenneth Smith, what's up? Um, let's see. It's not a lot of, I see the same people on here in the beginning. Henry Cedillo, what's up? And explicit, if you say George the Animal Steel around here, you're gonna get a response from me. So y'all know how I feel about George the Animal Steel. Oh man. Spook Realm, this is an easy question. Who can keep the average dancer hyper than a heart attack while nobody's smiling? The God. Aaron, what's up? Um, Latrice Washington, hey, what's going on? Latrice Washington, what's up? Yeah. Dan Marasuti, what's good? Um, MMA, of course. What up? See, mostly all the regulars. Imperial J, the MC. Ilroy, the MC. Come down, Kenny Parker. Silk Charles says, what's good, KP? Much love. Now it's 50 Cent versus Fabulous and Papoose. Yeah, it just seems to never end, man. I I just don't know. I mean, it could be funny at times, but at what point does it end? At what point do we get some dope music? There is not one rap hit out right now. There is not a big rap hit record out right now. Like the one record that everyone wants to hear, there's none. It's just beefs on Twitter. Rap is now social media. Sad. Hip hop culture is still going strong, but the rap portion of it is in really, really bad shape. Um, Reggie underscore tense 23 stuck behind accident traffic on US 35 northbound in West Virginia. Whoa, you way out there, stuck behind traffic. Oh man, what's up to you? I hope the traffic is moving soon. And thank you for checking out the Kenny Parker Show. Big Rock, Mike Rocks 25. Um, Big Rock says, I said Big Rocks. I see the Mike Rocks 25 says the big Jersey debate. Italian hot dogs in a pita, North Jersey, or subs, South Jersey. I've never had an Italian hot dog in a pita. And it wasn't until I went to school out here in New Jersey, that I heard the word sub. I'm from New York. We eat heroes. A hero. The rest of America seems to eat subs, and some people eat hoagies. I don't know what a hoagie is. I don't know what a sub is. We eat heroes. So I'm gonna take a hero over a hot dog any day, even if it's Italian thick hot dog with bread and all of that. Even though I've never had one, so I can't really speak. Bill Shapiro, what's up? A Steele, what's up? Sydney Rhodes, what up? Um, Oh, platform, that's dope. Happy New Year, KP. Happy New Year to you and to everybody. Got the Above the Rim soundtrack on splatter vinyl for Christmas. The Above the Rim soundtrack. Wow. Then I got the new Mobb Deep Infinite album on splatter vinyl. That's dope, man. Still collecting vinyl. That is great. I still pick up vinyl from time to time when I can, mostly 45s. Uh, Patrick Y, what up? Northeast Bronx. Hey, Tracy. Riding Dirty Face, salute, salute, salute. Dartmouth, what up? Who's smoother, Big Daddy Kane or Smooth B? Smooth Operator. I would say, looking at their music, I would say overall, Smooth B has been consistently smoother in his rhyme delivery than Kane. Because Kane had raw and ain't no half stepping, and I get the job done. And word from my sponsor, not word from my sponsor, that's KRS. I forgot the song. I could name the beat. Young, Gifted, and Black. I would say that Smooth B has been smoother overall, but the Smooth Operator song is what made Big Daddy Kane the smoothest. So he had the smoothest moment, but I think Smooth B overall is smoother. That's my take, if that makes sense to y'all. G Doyle, what up? Half of the Doyle brothers in the building. Uh, I think I saw this post too, Rogers. It says, uh, top 5 non-gangstar DJ premiere beats. Well, most of them for me are the big, gigantic ones. Come Clean, J. Rue the Damager. Unbelievable was unbelievable. Oh, Nas, New York State of Mind. It was crazy. And I Gave You Power. I loved I Gave You Power. I thought that's one of Nas's finest moments. That's 4 right there. Preem has so many real ridiculous. I'm not even gonna go KRS. I'm gonna go. Wow, that's 9, because he did some dope ones with Hove. Oh man. That is a really I'd have to really sit and think of my preem. 10 Crack Commandments might be his dopest Biggie beat, even though I loved Unbelievable. That's five right there. 10 Crack Commandments was ridiculous. And I believe Premier scratched that all the way down. He had the beat up on the track and he took the record and went, burn, bam, burn, 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 bam. Like he cut that all the way down. Ridiculous. I'll give an obscure record that I liked, Fat Joe. Shit's Real remix, I thought was really, really, really dope. Doom, 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 doom. That was so dope. And I believe that was supposed to be for LL Cool J, and he didn't accept it. In fact, Joe took it. The remix he did for Showbiz and AG was really banging too. Oh man, that's a lot. That's a tough question. I named like 8 right there, and I'm probably missing some. Wow. Let's see. Right. Inspired by Fire. MC Zaka They Don't Know was really really dope too. I just took KRS out of the equation for a second because I thought Out of Here was really banging too. Nas is like I like Nas is like, but I think there's other ones to me more banging than that he made for Nas. Like I said, like New York State of Mind is probably the illest beat he made for Nas. And I Gave You Power for me. Um, represent, represent. That was dope too. Platform says, "Hey Kenny, 30 years ago, Heather B dropped the classic album together, Taking Mine. That was 30 years ago. Yeah, 1996. Jeez. 1996 is 30 years, y'all. How crazy is that? I can remember it like it was yesterday. Um, it says, I hope you can let go of that shelved album you both did in like 91, 92. You said it never came out. Yeah, I have some of the songs on. First of all, none of the songs are really finished, but I have songs on DAT. Need to get a DAT player. Um, on that album was the original Sound of the Police. For those that don't know, please check out my Sound of the Police 12-inch breakdown that I did on this channel. And you'll know that Sound of the Police was originally a Heather B song that was on that album that never came out. We had a song with Lords of the Underground called Keep It Real that was dope that never came out. We had a song with a group called Skadanks. Big up to Rocka T. We had a dope song there that never came out. A bunch of stuff. But yeah, so I have it on DAT, some of it. Um, Christina Horton says, "Hello, KP. Taking a break from doing my hair to show some love. Thank you so much. I hope your hair turns out spectacular. Are you just doing your hair for GP or are you about to go out? Is this like a special occasion hairdo um or just going out?" G. Joel says, "Am I the only one having the audio cutting out? That would suck." Danielle the Don Freeman, what up? The Real Chef Daddy, what up? Samuel Gervais, haven't seen you in a minute. What's going on? Uh, Patrick Wise says, "I would love to check out that vinyl event at Bryant Park, but Times Square area. It's not really, well, it's like 3 blocks from Times Square. I got to do like special ed and think about it. Think about it. It's over. It's on 40th, 41st, and 6th. Times Square is like 7th and Broadway, so it's like a block over, and like 2 blocks down, it's like 3 blocks over. It's cool, man. If you're in the area, come through. It's cool and it's free. Yeah, explicit. The issue is we shoot the shit way before Kenny gets online, so there's much to scroll down from. Yes, and you guys be talking about all kind of stuff. Um, ICU breath, breathing fully. What's up? People Jones says you will have to turn off comments till the show starts, as we have some blabberers. No, I like the comments. I like the engagement. I like to check out what you guys are talking about. Sometimes there's good questions in there. It's just that while I'm looking at it, I fall further and further into the hole. Yes, Tracy, please tell them to hit the like button because if I say it, they're not going to listen. Favorite Run DMC song, Sucker MCs Changed the Game. I loved Rock Box. I loved Rock Box, man. That brings back high school days. Um, Here we go. Here we go. That was big. That's 3 I just named. And Down with the King, of course. I'm gonna go favorite I can listen to right now is Rock Box. Um, let's see. MMA says the rope is rocked. Yes. And Mr. Roper used to always, they say, break, what is it, the fourth wall? When the actor turns to address the camera, guess the actor never supposed to look at the camera. I think they call it the fourth wall, and when you break the fourth wall, that's not good. But Mr. Roper used to break the fourth wall. I think it's called the fourth wall all the time. When he would make a joke against Mrs. Roper, and then he would turn and look at the camera and laugh. That used to be so funny. Oh, that is funny. Um, Kenny, I respect Prince since he knew the industry and I Googled his albums. I found it funny that he did the Batman soundtrack, but he added that as one of his studio albums. Yeah, that's probably because of his contract. Your contract, most artists sign a 7 album deal, and he did all original music for the Batman soundtrack, and that counts as one of your albums to get out of your deal. I remember there was a controversy with BDP because Chris was trying to use the live album that we did in 91 as one of his 7 albums. And I think Jive argued against that, even though there was 3 new songs on there. But Jive, I think, argued against making that one of his albums. But I think Prince did a whole new album for Batman. So that really should count. Aaron says, nah, Mr. Furley was funny. Furley was funny to me, but he wasn't funnier than Roper to me. Uh, uh, let's see. Um, Daylight Doyle, what up? BDP is the #1 set and sound. Um, Bill Shapiro says, sucker MCs, here we go, my Adidas. All those are dope. Um, I would put, for me, I'd put Peter Piper over my Adidas on the Raising Hell album. I think Daryl and Joe was dope too. There's just a bunch of just ridiculous Run DMC records. People Jones said Red Fox also had a similar standoff with the producers about getting a window in his dressing room and was off the show for an episode or two while it played out. That's crazy, fighting over a window in the dressing room. I believe that J.R. Ewing, shout out to Larry Hagman, believe he passed away. Did he pass away? That was my top 5 favorite show of all time, Dallas. I believe that he fought for more money, and he, along with also Tony Soprano, uh, fought for more money. And when they got the money, they distributed it amongst the other actors. I think Larry Hagman did it, and I think James Gandolfini also did it. Fought for more money for himself, and when he got the big check, he spread the love, which is so dope, just so dope. Um, Kenny, what's your favorite Eddie Murphy movie? Harlem Nights, Beverly Hills Cop, etc. Loved Harlem Nights, loved Boomerang. Coming to America, they're all on the same level to me. Love Trading Places, 48 Hours. I'm gonna go, it could be Harlem Nights or Coming to America. I'm gonna go Harlem Nights. I'm gonna go Harlem Nights because there was a lot of funny people. But you know what? Boomerang was really funny too. Jack and Janet should have gotten married to N3's company. That would have been cool. But there was always a little tension. The sexual tension that he always had would have been off. Like I once saw Barbara Eden say of I Dream of Jeannie that the show was over when Major Nelson married Jeannie. That ended the show because the tension, the sexual tension that was there was gone, and it ruined the show. So whenever there's shows that have that kind of tension, if they get married, historically it messes up the show. But if some dope writing could have fixed it, but who knows? Jack Swagger, what up? Rod Justice, Uncle Kenny, tell us a story about Fort Greene. Well, I always tell a story about when I went in Fort Greene projects. I think I told that story about 3 weeks ago. Um, I was in the Fort Greene area a lot. Just passing through a lot, though. I've been in Washington Park, saw a lot of concerts there. I saw War in Washington Park. I saw uh, Roy Ayers in Fort Greene. They call it Fort Greene Park, but it's really Washington Park. I saw Roy Ayers there. I saw Smith and Wesson, the whole boot camp clique there. Um, yeah, I was in the Fort Greene area a lot. I'm trying to think if I have any Fort Greene stories. The only story that I have is the one where I went to Fort Greene projects when I was 16, like an idiot, and almost got robbed. Uh, I'm trying to think if there's any more Fort Greene stories. I really don't have any. And it's funny, I was born in Fort Greene, technically. There's a hospital that is now closed down years ago called Cumberland Hospital in Brooklyn, in Fort Greene. I was born in Cumberland Hospital. Um, at the time, my family lived in Park Slope, Brooklyn. But for some reason, when my mother gave birth, they took her to Fort Greene. So I was actually born in Fort Greene. Cumberland Hospital, which is behind Fort Greene Projects, but it's now well, it's been closed down for decades. But um, Asus says Kenny still refuses to get a Cat 8 Ethernet cable. Yeah, I have refused so far, but am I having dropouts? I don't know. Uh, B-Boy Jonas said if 50 put half the effort into his music, he'd be onto something. I mean, I guess. Favorite MC Light song? Stop, Look, Listen. That beat was so dope. And me and Chris used to cut, when I first started learning how to DJ, me and Chris used to cut that record up. I'm rhyming and designing, also creating. I'm rhyming and designing, I'm rhyming. We used to cut that up in the beginning. Um, she has a few, but that's probably my favorite. 10% Diss was dope. Kick This One for Brooklyn was dope. Kick This One for the 90s. That's when I knew MC Light was the realest, when she said the 90s. For those from Brooklyn, if you know about the 90s, you know that Light is the realest for saying the 90s. Shout out to Brownsville. Um, I'm super far behind now. Corey Flex says, Kenny, rap music is dead. RIP 2025, and it's not coming back. It could come back, but it's gonna take some really dope young boy. Um, I was talking to my man, DJ Boy Wonder. We was talking on the 50th anniversary of hip hop. I always said I had the feeling that that was a celebration and a swan song, like when they give you your gold watch and they retire you, or when they raise your number up to the rafters. I felt like that 50th anniversary celebration was like them raising hip hop to the rafters. Um, Not hip hop so much, but rap. Uh, but who knows? But yeah, it's in big, big trouble. Black music is in huge trouble. Paper Thin was banging too. Shout out to D Nice, who made an appearance in there. Shout out to my man Big Said. I believe her two love interests were my man Big Said and D Nice. Were scrapping it out for the affections of MC Light in that video. I'm about to do a De La Doyle scroll down because I'm super behind already. Um, I hate being behind. It really bothers me that I get behind in this. Floetry One, what up? Because I'm dying over the sandwich slang. Heroes, man. Spook Realm KP, choose your all-time five and your sixth man. I'm gonna do this one, then I'm gonna scroll down. My all-time five is Magic Johnson at the point. I'll make it round. Magic Johnson at the point and Michael Jordan at the two guard. That is in stone. The three, LeBron James is the best three. He's a three. He's the best three that ever did it. But I need, for my balance, I would put Larry Bird there because I need shooting. But LeBron is the best three ever. But I would put Bird there because I need somebody to space the floor. So I'm going Bird. So I'm going Jordan, Magic, Bird, those three. The Dream Olajuwon is my center. I believe he can guard anybody and he can switch. He can guard probably from 3 to 5. You can switch in the pick and rolls. He can play drop coverage. He can double off of the pick and roll. He can play the post. You can post him. He can shoot the mid. Um, and his defense is block shots, steals. Uh, I think he's the most versatile big man probably ever. I love Wilt Chamberlain, but he's a little before my time, so I didn't really get to see him like that. So I'm going Dream at the five. I'm really loving this damn Joker, but I wouldn't put him with that team. But I'm really loving him though. And my power forward is, of course, Timmy D, the greatest power forward of all time. Now there's people that I like KD. Um, my sixth man, that's tough because Kobe should be in that mix. But I need a six man. If I had Kobe, because I put Kobe, you could put Kobe at the two or the three. Then you could move LeBron around too, though. So I could put LeBron at the three, maybe the four, depending. Wow, that's a tough. Either Kobe or LeBron coming off the bench. Probably. There's not a lot of shoot. There's not a lot of 3-point shooting on that team, so I might have to go Kobe for his. He has a better jump shot than LeBron, but I'm gonna go Kobe off the bench. Yeah. All right. De La Doll, scroll down. Here we come. Well, wait. Favorite Karis One album cover. By all means necessary. The Malcolm. Malcolm is one of my heroes. Uh, Malcolm is one of my heroes, so um, for sure that. All right, here we go. The De La Doll scroll down is in full effect. We are skipping 50 comments. If you left a comment in the past 20 minutes, please repost it so I can see it because I'm just trying to catch up. Floshi says, Kenny, you breaking the fourth wall now. That's funny. Oh, China Doll is here. Cynthia, what's up? I didn't see you, but um, what's good, my friend from school? And by the way, Becca Boo, I don't recognize that name. Becca Pooh. I said Becca Boo. Hey Boo, Becca Pooh. Are you new to the channel? What's up? Um, I could jump in right here, but this is still far behind. Daryl and Joe was really dope. MMA says, yeah, Mr. Roper was funny when he did that. Yeah, that used to make me laugh. Um, Mr. Roper had the perv grin. Absolutely. Oh, Christina says, no, KP, just need to tighten it up. My locks must be neat. Absolutely. Oh, so that's the answer to that question. Um, Donald McCall says, yo, KP, Deep Cover with Dr. Dre featuring Snoop Dogg was the dopest beat of 92. It could have been. There was a moment where all the MCs in New York, whenever there was time to freestyle or something, everybody was throwing on doom, 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 doom. I could feel it. And allegedly, Dre did not like that song, and they tricked Dre to coming to the studio to shoot to the video shoot. Um, you know how I feel about Dr. Dre. There was some great beats in '92 because Dwick was great. They Want Effects. Das Effects was a great beat in '92. That Low End Theory had some bangers in '90. That was '91. Low End Theory was '91, right? Going into '92. Um, there were some great beats in '92. Great, great funky beats, classic beats. Choice is Yours, Black Sheep. With Deep Cover, you can make an argument for Deep Cover being the dopest beat. All right, I'm still super far behind. This is why there's some dope comments here, but I gotta move on. Um, gotta move on. This pains me. Remember when Bobby Ewing died? Just a funny story. China Doll, my friend Cynthia from college. I believe that was my freshman year. We were I was in her dorm room and we were watching Dallas. And I remember I had a big ass box. I had a big giant box, and I was blasting my music. We used to have something called a I forgot what they called it. I think we called it a quad or whatever. But in our dorm area, there was a section in between the housing where everybody used to be chilling outside, and I was out there blasting my music. And then I came upstairs to Cynthia's crib on the second floor, and we was watching Dallas, and that was the day when Bobby Ewing died. And I remember I was sitting there watching, and I hear some like sniffling over to the side, and I looked over, and she was crying. And I was like, "Are you crying?" And I remember I had a cassette in my tape deck, and I pressed record. And I was talking. I'm like, "Are you crying?" And I recorded the conversation. She was crying when Bobby Ewing died. And I had that cassette for years. I wish I could play. I wish I still had that cassette. Oh, that is a funny thing you just brought up. Shout out to China Doll. We go back to my freshman year in college, and that was incredibly funny. She cried when Bobby Ewing died. And you remember how they brought him back? They just said, okay, everything that happened the past year is just a dream. They just made him reappear in the shower, like everything that just happened was a dream. That was funny. That was funny, Sin. All-time hip hop theme song. What do you mean by theme songs? Speak on it. Speak on it. Godcast. All-time hip hop theme, like my theme song. Oh, that's a tough theme song. I don't know what you mean by that. Like a theme song for me? That's a tough question. That's a tough question. I'd have to really think about that. First, can you clarify what you mean by theme song, please, so I can answer that question better? Kenneth Smith says, Kenny, you're a little fuzzy, nothing crazy. I don't know why. Um, we be having good stretches where everything is fine. I'm in the same exact spot. Everything is fine, and then all of a sudden, boom. Um, Spencer says, trading places, that's gotta be the one. Um, I loved trading places. That's way up there. I mean, that's way up there for me. You're right, Justice. When they say rap music is dead, they mean mainstream. You gotta understand, rap music has been dominating the world. Hip hop culture has been dominating the world for 3 decades, and now it's quiet. Sure, there's great hip hop coming out, but you now have to go underground to find it for the first time since really the 80s. And I'm still super behind, so I'm gonna jump down a little bit more. Um, 45, 49 and Neil, what's up? Neil, Nell. I always get that one. 49 and Nell. uh, KP, Queen Latifah, Wrath of My Manners was a banger in 88 when she made her debut. Of course. I love that album. Princess of the Posse was my favorite record on that album. That's the B side of Wrath of My Madness. Shout out to the 45 King, who doesn't get mentioned as much as he should for being an absolutely amazing and spectacular producer. Doesn't get mentioned at all. New York is dead. Nothing in New York has any sort of aura. Everything is pretentious and ran by hipsters. Absolutely. New York is dead. Um, Survival of the Fittest was banging MC Light. All right, I'm jumping down because okay, here I am. This is a good. I'm right here. I'm 5 minutes back. Uh, uh, TJ 3000 KP. Does KRS care about where he's ranked on the all-time rappers list? I think it's depend on who's saying it. Um, I've seen him not care at all about any rankings and magazines and all of those, and then I've seen him debate people on where he thinks he should be in the list. So I've seen him do both. So I'm going to say it depends on who's ranking. Um, oh, the Chronic, Mecca and the Soul Brother, and What the Album came out in '92. I think They Reminisce Over You is the dopest beat of '92, even over Deep Cover. Deep Cover, there's an argument for Deep Cover as well. But They Reminisce Over You, that beat is so dope, and the horns are so dope that you don't even need a hook. A hook would have ruined that record. And you know me, I am the hook man. I believe that every song needs a chorus. And that particular song, all he says is when they reminisce over you, my God, and the mood of that record with those horns, I think that is the dopest beat of the year. Pete Rock. But asterisk Deep Cover. Not gonna be able to do it. Shout out to my man. Oh man, I gotta forget my man. Sugar Ray. I be bugging with these names. Shout out to Sugar Ray from Double X Posse. I just saw him a few months ago. Not gonna be able to do. I literally saw him a few months ago. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Divine Existence says, Peace KP, I created a music video for BDP Stop the Violence since Jive didn't shoot one for you guys. Of course they didn't. They ruined KRS's career. All vintage footage, no AI used. Please check it out when you get a chance. Can you please put a link? Either put a link or DM me a link on Instagram so I can see that, please. Um, let's see. Well, she said Dallas was my mom's show. I got into it with her after a while. Dallas was a great show. Dallas might be one of the greatest shows in television history. There was a moment remember when it was Who Shot JR? By the way, I guessed correctly that it was Corinne. No one will ever believe me because I was a kid. I said Corinne, his wife's sister, shot him, and I was correct. Who Shot JR was a phenomenon. And I think that was like the cliffhanger season end. And I think when it came back the following season, that first episode of Who Shot JR was one of the most watched shows in the history of television. The whole of America wanted to know who shot JR. That was huge. Um, speaking on says hip hop themes song samples. Oh, I Dream of Jeannie was dope for. Oh no, Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget. That was for. They used the Bad Boys used it for Inspector Gadget, and Dougie Fresh used it for the show. Inspector Gadget. That's it. Platform. Hey, Ken, did you ever hear? Did you hear about the 7'9" basketball player, Olivia Rue? Oliver Rue. Olivier Rue from Quebec, Canada. He's 19 years old and wears a size 20 shoes. Have you ever met someone that tall before? No. The tallest person I've ever met was Rick Smits. the dunking Dutchman who used to play for the Indiana Pacers. He was 7'3". That's the tallest person I ever met. Shout out to Rick Smits. We was cool for a second. I wonder if he remembers me. 7'9" is crazy. 7'9" is nuts. 121 Deuce. What up, KP? How should the Chubster's career be viewed? Great question. Well, first let's look at him with his peers. He had the big hit in, I believe, late '88. Man, Woman, Birth, Infinity. Rock that shit, homie. Doom, doom, doom. That used to rock in the club called Sensations in New Jersey. And then he had the Popeye tune, I'm Bad. Your Bad Chubs was big. These are big singles. Then he had a gold album. We had a gold EP and a gold album. I think he had two gold EP because the EP had, I think the EP had Treat 'Em Right on it. And that's a classic record that'll rock a party right now. Like I'm gonna play Treat 'Em Right at Bryant Park next week. That's his biggest record. That was a huge record. And he also had Just the Two of Us, which went to #1 on the Billboard rap charts. I remember that. Then he had like the Chubster. So he had like a 3-album run. He had some big songs in an era where it was really tough. But then by '92, he dropped that album and then it didn't really hit. I think he had Back to the Grill. It was Back to the Grill. That was MC Search. No, I'm wrong. He had some moments like he was on Crooklyn Dodgers. I would have him in the next tier down. How should his career be viewed? First of all, he had a great career. I mean, he has, for those that know hip hop, he probably has about 5 songs that he can throw on that people will know from our era. That's a lot. 5 songs that were hit singles, big singles. Because even the Chubster used to play a lot. The Chubster. Word up. Um, I think he had a great career. Little short, well, not short, but he had it was like 3 years where he was really rocking. He has one really huge classic record. And he had some other records on that album that I used to like the one that I used to like. I think that was the album, the title cut. So I would think he had a good career. I think he had a good 3-year run, is how he should be judged. Had a good 3-year run. And he had some nice lyrics. He was an underrated MC because he had some good lyrics too, by the way. Shout out to the Chubster. Um, this right here, we could talk for an hour about. Very controversial subject. Ebro killed New York rap. Then you got to go into Hot 97 and the whole history of Hot 97 and what they did to rap, period. I'm going to say Ebro was a major factor, a major factor. I'm not going to say he alone did it, but he was a major factor in suppressing the New York sound. But we could talk about that subject right there. And I don't know Ebro. I never met Ebro. I've been in the same room with him before, but I don't know Ebro, and I would never disrespect. But just on a like an intellectual hip hop conversation, you have to talk about that. And he says he didn't. Um, I shout out to Rosenberg too. Rosenberg is cool with me. Um, that's a conversation that needs to be had. That's a great conversation. Peace, KP. If you were MC, Platano, DC, who would you get to produce your album? It could be more than one person. Of course, Q-Tip. It would be Dre, Q-Tip would do the bulk of my album. Large Pro would get a joint off on there. 45 King would get a joint off on there. And Eric Sermon would get a joint off on there. I don't know how many songs. First of all, I would only have like 12 songs. So 8 of them, I think Dre and Tip would probably do 4 each. And then those other guys would do 1 each. That would be it off the top of my head. KRS is still thankfully making music, and it's of course top tier as always. Yes, shout out to the teacher. That's all he ever wanted to do with his life, man. I think he will rap till he cannot. Um, Jack Swagger, who shot JFK since you on a roll? I do not believe it was a lone gunman. I'm not sure who shot JFK, but I'm going with the conspiracy theories that there's too much evidence saying that it wasn't just Lee Harvey Oswald. There's more to that story. I don't know who, but it was more than it wasn't the one magic bullet. I'm not buying it. Uh, yeah, Dallas started the trending thing prior to Twitter. Yes. Who shot JR was viral before there was a viral. Um, it says Kenny is the Columbo for real when it comes to figuring out things. Ain't it great when you can figure out the plot and others can't? I would say I'm Columbo. I was watching Columbo like 3 weeks ago on like um one of these throwback channels. Columbo always be like, "That's it, thank you." Then he walk away and be like, "One more thing." He always turns around and says, "One more thing," and he talks about his wife all the time. And me and the wife, this and that, and one more thing. Columbo was very suspicious. Uh, um, let's see. Hold on. I see people. Don't bring up Dallas because I'll start talking about Dallas all day. Yes, Cynthia. Once again, thank you. Says you are a live encyclopedia. That's funny. We appreciate your recall insight and time committed to interact. Share with us. You're retiring Star Ledger Anderson. Star Ledger Anderson is Cynthia's nickname, by the way. Yeah, you'd had to be there to understand. Um, don't retire Star Ledger Anderson. We're never retiring that. Um, I don't know why I have a memory for useless information, but for some reason I remember all kind of random stuff. For some reason, I think it really helped when I was writing the book because I remembered all kind of things, all kind of conversations that I had with Chris and all kind of stuff. Um, I'm not that far behind, y'all. What? Here we go. Here goes the great debate. Hey, Kenny, I don't think every song needs a chorus. It depends on the music and whatever message and mood you're conveying. I once got in an argument with a studio engineer over this very topic. I believe that every song needs something that the people can sing along to that will take it to the next level. If you're not trying to make 'cause songs have a structure, verses, especially in R&B, but hip hop a little different. But there's verses, choruses, and an R&B has the bridge at the end. Um, But I believe that if a song to get to the next level, it has to have a chorus for the masses to sing along to. If you want a hit record, you need a chorus. If you just want to make songs that you like, you don't have to have a chorus. And then some people are going to name, what about this record? What about that record? There's a small percentage, I would say 0.01% of all the records ever made that didn't have a chorus per se and were a hit. And I would say 99% of those is hip hop. And the other percentage of those had a great musical breakdown, not breakdown, a great musical space where the chorus would be, where somebody did a saxophone solo or a guitar solo or some kind of musical thing that made the mood. But I believe the reason why some rappers were huge and some rappers weren't was because of choruses. And I believe the difference between, say, Naughty by Nature and some underground backpack rapper is that Tretch wrote great hooks and he put those hooks on these records. Also, KG made great uh, radio friendly music. But if you subtract the hooks from people like Naughty by Nature or Biggie or some of these people, they'd have a whole different career. We'd be speaking about them completely different. That's just my opinion. Um, if you're in the underground, underground records don't need a hook because you're not trying to go anywhere but in underground. But um, I would debate that. I will stick with that to the day I die. That if you want to go far in this route, and me as a club DJ, I DJ in a lot of clubs, and I can tell you throw on records and the record is playing, and people, a lot of times people don't even know the words. But when that chorus comes on, the whole place explodes. If you subtract that chorus from that song is nowhere. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to that to the day I die. Rick Smith used to give Shaq some problems. Rick Smith used to give Patrick Ewing all kind of problems. And I believe that's why the Knicks had so much trouble with Indiana. It was not Reggie Miller. We were supposed to have a huge advantage at the center position, and Rick Smith a lot of times played Patrick Ewing almost toe to toe. And that's why we had trouble. Chubb Rock is a legend. He absolutely is. We're just trying to give some analysis to his career. Yeah, Caught Up Remix, that's the name of it. Caught Up Remix was banging. Rock that shit, homie. Doom, 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 doom. That was banging. Rest in peace to Hitman Howie T. He did some great music for for Chubb Rock. Let's see. Yeah, the Crooklyn verse for Chubb Rock was dope. Can You Feel It by the Fat Boys? That's a hook. Absolutely, that's a hook. Absolutely. And that's why Puffy was on Biggie so much to come with hooks. Biggie was dope with the hooks though. But Puff was really on it because he understood hooks take your record to a whole other level. Um, the Chubster remix was my favorite. Big up to the Chubster, man. Um, I like the Abba Dabba Doo. I didn't think it was a big hit. And Pete Rock used that same beat with him and Pooh, I believe. Um, Funk Doobie, what up? Says caught up remix and original version of Trouble 89 was big on AM 1580 K Day Mix Master Show. Yeah, that was. I didn't know it was big out there, Doobie, but it was big here in New York. It was big in the clubs. Tallest person I met was George Mirasan. Is that cabbage I smell? At a diner in New Jersey near FDU. So big he didn't look human. Yeah, he was huge. I think he was 7'6". George Mirasan was huge. I saw Shaq in a club. He's the most physically imposing person I think I've ever seen in my life. He was gigantic. He was frightening. And I'm very tall. And Shaq just looked huge. Um, I know you're asking this question, could Rick Smith dunk a ball because you know he dunked on me, but we're not gonna go into that story. Yes, didn't Kenny say one time Rick Smith dunked on him? Yes, he did. I took a L trying to block a Rick Smith dunk. Did the Breakfast Club have a part in it? No cap. I think by the time Power 105 really blew, the ball was already rolling. But I don't think they had a. I mean, if you're saying people not from New York on New York radio bling, people that's not from New York on New York radio bringing a different flavor that wasn't New York and becoming popular with it. I don't know. I mean, even though Charlemagne's not from New York, but isn't Angela Yee? I don't know where she's from. And where's Envy from? Is Envy a New Yorker? I don't look at the Breakfast Club as hurting New York as much as Hot 97 did a real number. A real number. Kenny, have you heard Matt Skill's wrap up your song? Not yet. Have you ever met him? Absolutely. He's dope. Matter of fact, I mentioned on this channel that he did a solid for me. I'm not going to say what it is, but he did a solid for me about 6 months ago. Shout out to Mad Skills. Of course, I met him. That's the homie. Um, let's see. David Dawes says, I got dunked on by Rowan Barrett at the Y. Getting dunked on is not pretty. Professor Rich, great day to be alive, Kenny Parker. Yes, actually, to me, every day is a great day to be. If you are alive, it's a great day. How many people pass in a day? There's probably, what, hundreds of thousands of people in the world that leave us each day? Probably, right? How many a day in the world? Probably, I could Google it, but probably 100,000. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world, and every day babies are born and people are leaving. There's hundreds of thousands of people leaving us each day, and any day could be any of us. So I'm grateful to be alive. Let's see. KB Place says JFK was a mob hit. I believe that it was part mob, part US government. I don't think the mob by itself was strong enough to hit JFK. And if they did, the retaliation would have been so ridiculous to take out the president. That would have been the retaliation against the mob would have been unprecedented. I think they had a hand in it mixed with because they were working side by side with the CIA at that point. Not side by side. That's not accurate. The CIA used the mob for certain things in exchange for favors. Um, but I believe that they had a hand in it. Gregory Ness says Dynasty was my show. I like it more than Dallas. I never really watched Dynasty. That was a huge show though. Rid, what up? I heard there's a BDP reunion album in the works. Professor Rich. I never heard that. That would be dope. Becca Pooh, Kenny, did y'all ever record at Green Street Studios? I interned there for 6 months in '94 and briefly met Keith Shockley. First of all, shout out to Keith Shockley and Hank Shockley, super cool brothers. Um, I don't believe BDP ever worked at Green Street. I know Pete Rock used to be there a lot. Um, no, we didn't work out of Green Street. Not that I recall, not in my time. MMA says, I do appreciate Kenny's appreciation for the classics. Thank you so much. I do appreciate the classics. Um, Jack Swagger says, KP, your memory comes from clean living. Thank you. I would like to think that some part of my lifestyle has some influence on remembering things. Whatever happened to DJ Jazzy Joyce? She's DJing around. Matter of fact, the same promoter, Rebecca Lynn, that I'm doing the party with Vinyl Nights, um, that I'll be doing a party next Tuesday. For those that's just checking in, I will not be here next Tuesday. I'll be DJing at Bryant Park in Manhattan on next Tuesday. So I think I'm going to move the live to Wednesday. But the same promoter, Vinyl Nights, also Jazzy Joyce does a night with her, an all-female DJ night. So Jazzy Joyce is in the New York area still DJing. Shout out to Jazzy Joyce. That's the homie too. Sucker MCs had no chorus. It sure didn't. It sure did. It was just rhymes and beats the whole way, and it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Lottie Dottie didn't have a chorus either. One of the greatest vocal performances of all time. There are a few, and this was early 80s, y'all talking, when rap was still really underground. Rap wasn't really even on the radio like that. And it's funny, those two songs made it to the radio. Um, what's the difference between a chorus and a hook? Really, to me, it's the same thing, just a different terminology. Um, the chorus meaning the chorus is usually the part of the record that is repeated after every, I guess it's 16 bars in hip hop, and I think it's like 8 bars in R&B, but it's the part that is repeated over and over in 2 or 3 different parts of the song. Is called a chorus. And for some people, they say it's the hook. It's the thing that hooks the audience. It hooks the audience in. I'm a big proponent of the hook. I see some people gonna, like I said, they're gonna name songs. Rocket had no chorus. Had no word. Rocket was just all scratches and that dun, 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 that was like an instrumental. Protect Your Neck had no chorus. You know what I would argue too? That some of these songs were big with no chorus, but if they had a chorus, they would have been even bigger. I think Protect Your Neck was a dope underground record, but the big records on that album was METHOD, man, METHOD, man, hook. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. That was a great hook, by the way. Method Man had the hooks. Wu Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Wu Tang Clan. Those are great hooks that everyone sings along to. Can it be that it was all so simple? Then you take those choruses out of those records, and they are just underground songs, dope songs. You take Cash Rules Everything Around Me out of that record and just have it just nothing or just some scratches, it'd have been a whole different record. But like I said, you can find some here and there. Um, let's see. Yeah, Charles Thirsty X's Havoc's the master of 8 bars choruses. He really is. His choruses are almost verses. You are correct with that. That's weird how Mobb Deep used long choruses like that and they worked for the most part. Yes. Um, Professor Rich says, but the chorus is standard. There's a reason why the chorus is standard. Um, KP, if G Rap had a chorus, his songs would be bigger. Absolutely. If G Rap had choruses, he'd be talked about in a whole different. First of all, he'd have way bigger numbers. This is what I'm talking about. The difference between G Rap and another artist that we could think of is that similar era is that they had choruses and he didn't. That is a great example. If G Rap had choruses, it'd be a whole different ball game. Um, let's see. Having a chorus is almost the same as call and response type thing. Yeah, people like to feel involved in the music and always want to sing along. Just a Friend is a perfect example. Absolutely. One of the great choruses sung worldwide. You take that chorus off of Just a Friend, and it's not even, it's just a song that comes and goes. That chorus is what made that song great. And Biz, the way he sung it also. That's a great example. People want to feel part of it. Um, let's see. Um, let's scroll down a little bit. How far behind? I'm like 10 minutes behind. John Lee says, I met George Marathon years ago in DC at an arena during a game. Biggest person I've ever met in my life. He probably is the biggest person you'll probably ever see. You're not going to see a 7'6" person ever. I think it was 7'7". I think it was 7'7". You're not going to see a person that big ever. The Green Talons, what's up? Says, yo, King KP. Chubb Rock's 1991 album is by far his greatest all time. So many hits was on that album. I believe it went gold. Yes, that album went gold. There was an EP before that, and then it was the album. But yes, I love Just the Two of Us. That was my jam, man. Angela from New Jersey. I'm gonna say New York. She's from the tri-state area. Bugger says, no Diamond D for your solo LP, Kenny. He gave Chris some heat for self-titled carousel. I love Diamond D. I was in the studio when he recorded one of those songs with Chris. I was standing right there. Um, I love Diamond D. You just asked me, you got 12 songs and you asking me who I like. I wouldn't have 12 different people. I told you my main Dre tip would do the bulk, Large Pro, 45 King. I forgot who else I mentioned. Eric Sermon. I would say Preem, but everyone has Preem. Like, no, I'm not gonna say Preem. He could easily be on there, but I'm not gonna say Preem. But these guys are like my favorites all time. Let's see. Spook Rum said, if I played KP back in the day, I'd throw it down his throat like Barkley. You see these car keys, you'll never get these. They belong to the 9-8 posse. Shout out to Chuck D. Hold up. D says KP Yee is from Flatbush. Envy is from Queens. Wait, Yee is from Flatbush? From where I'm from? Who said? Somebody just said she's from Jersey. That's wrong. Envy is from Queens and Angela Yee is from Brooklyn. And the Breakfast Club had nothing to do with New York hip hop not getting played on the radio. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah, I saw this RIP MTV. Crusher Blackwell. I think they no longer play music videos, and the very last song they played was the first song that they played, which is I think one of the most important choruses of all time. Video killed the radio star. That is the truest thing ever said. Videos killed the radio star. I wish, I love music videos, but I wish that we didn't know what anybody looked like. And we just judged people on the songs. I wish we didn't know if you were black or white, old or young, you were American, European, African. I wish we didn't know anything. Just how does it sound? That's how it used to be when I was growing up. We didn't know what anybody looked like. You weren't Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, you know, the Beatles or somebody, Marvin Gaye. We didn't know what anybody looked like. You just liked the songs or you didn't. Skins came out before Yabba Dabba Doo. Yeah, it might have came out, it might have been released, but we don't know when they both recorded it. But yeah, Skins was dope too. Shout out Grand Poobah. KP thought he could block Rick Smith's shot after he just finished watching White Men Can't Jump. That's mad funny. Rick Smith did me dirty, man. Um, let's see. Oh. Fauci says, you called the KP, the three-letter guys got JFK. I really believe that. And one day it's going to come out. Remember they said they was going to release the files, what was it, 60 years after his passing or something? And then Trump um, released some stuff, but they didn't release everything. There are people that's still alive that have something to do with that are old men. So we'll see. Corey Fudd says, Kenny, I will gladly go guest host the show next Tuesday. Thank you so much, Corey Fudd. I appreciate that. But I think I'm going to move it to Wednesday. Kenny, who made the jam Drummer's Beat? Isn't that Herman Kelly? Let's dance to the drummer's beat. Speak on it. Top 5, 10 NBA point guards. Well, I'm going to go top 5. Magic is the standard bearer. Isaiah, Jason Kidd. See, there's guys like Oscar Robertson and Bob Cousy. That's before my time, but they were the point guards for the first beginnings. Bob Cousy was doing some crazy stuff in the late 50s, early 60s. He was throwing it behind his back and doing crazy passes that Bob Cousy was doing passes that if he did them today would be viral. I'm gonna put Bob Cousy in that five. I'm gonna put him in there. And I don't know what to make of Steph Curry. I don't he's a point guard, but he's the greatest shooter of all time. He's like a two guard that brings the ball up. Chris Paul, Magic, Cousy, Jason Kidd, Isaiah Thomas. Stockton, I always thought John Stockton was good, but I think he was just a solid point guard. Like to me, he was a good point guard. He didn't, and he passed the ball where it was supposed to go. When he ran the offense, I didn't see him as much as like a creator and breaking people down and making people better. I just thought he ran a great offense, and he had a great target to pass it to in Karl Malone. So I'm not going to put Stockton there. I mean, he was all-time steals leader. I'm not trying to disrespect John Stockton. I just don't have him in my five. That fifth is tough. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Steph Curry, even though I don't think he's a point guard, but he does bring the ball up. So I'm gonna put him at five. I think he's the greatest shooter that ever lived, but technically he's a point guard. Um, let's see. Who is Rebecca? Was she a producer or label owner? You mean Rebecca Forster? Are you talking about BDP? Um, Rebecca Forster was a sound engineer. Um, and my mentor, when I first started in BDP, I was working under Rebecca Forster before I was the DJ. I think you mean Rebecca of BDP. Rebecca, shout out to Rebecca Forster. She works with D Nice as we speak. She's one of the most legendary sound engineers ever. She worked with Lauren and Alicia Keys, Tribe, Naughty, Buster, everybody. But she started with BDP and she raised me in this game. I do believe that's who you're talking about. The show has no chorus. This is called the show. The chorus is they use the music as the chorus, but technically it doesn't have a chorus. They just go, this is called the show. This is called the show. That it doesn't have a singing chorus. You are correct. There's some choruses where people just end it with a line like special ed, I got it made. Dun 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 dun. I got it made. That's it. Like that's the chorus, but it's not really a chorus. But um, and I would argue that if these songs had choruses, they'd be even bigger than they were. Even bigger than they were. Um, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. KB Play, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. How did Karis feel about we're on the same game? I don't know. I never heard him talk about it at all. Um, that's a great question that he would have to answer. I've never heard him, me personally, when it was out, I've never heard him mention that song ever. So I don't know. um, as we all know, We All in the Same Gang is the West Coast's version of self-destruction. Um, that's a great question. I do not have the answer to that. CMC in the place to be. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Make this a little bigger. KP, style of talking while music is playing in the background, like Jamaican funk. My favorite. Oh, let me see. Like Jamaican funk, my favorite, by the way. Where it might have come from or who? Oh, talking while the music is playing in the background. Just people. You know what? That's a great question. 'Cause I know that Sugar Hill used to do that a lot with their rap songs. They used to have the band playing and they people talking in the background. I don't know where that came from, but I always like that people just talking in the background and you hear random conversations and people just blurting out things. By the way, are you talking about Jamaica funk? That's what it is. I just a couple of years ago learned that he's not talking about Jamaica, the country. The guy's talking about Jamaica, Queens. He's from Jamaica, Queens. Jamaica funk. He's talking about Jamaica, Queens in New York, not Jamaica, the country. I believe that's the song you're talking about. Great song, by the way. Um, oh, we are. It's 9:31. We are in overtime. This is the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Tuesday, we will not be here on Tuesday. The more I think about it, I think I'm gonna move the show to Wednesday because I have a DJ gig on Tuesday. I will remind you guys again on Friday. I'm gonna get a couple more questions in and I'm gonna bid out. Uh, I'm gonna go down to Disco Doyle, scroll down. Um, Jason Ward, KP, what's your favorite West Coast album with being produced by Dre? The one I listened to the most back in the day was Too Short. You mean not being produced by Dre? America's Most Wanted. Ice Cube, all that Ice. I love Ice Cube. He's in my top 5 favorite MCs of all time. Any Ice Cube albums, those especially the ones in the 90s, before the West Side Connection. Ice Cube before the West Side Connection. Um, I listened to all that. As you talk about whole albums. You know what, Professor Rich, you might be right. Marvin Gaye started that talking behind the music. You might be right about that. Uh, you might be right about that. Because in what's going on, he's talking, he's having a, like, it sound like they're having a conversation or something in the beginning of that record. And that's what, what's going on is like 1971. Jamaican Funk Mishi Me. Oh, I thought you were talking about Jamaica Funk. Okay, I'm wrong. Uh, KP's nickname is Captain Hook. Yes, it would be. Thank you so much, Mr. Parking. Blessings to you. Blessings to you too, Becca Pooh. Thank you. Um, Kobe's 81 or Jordan's 69? I'm going Kobe's 81. Kobe's 81 points is probably one of the wildest performances I've ever seen. And when they finally subbed him out, remember he was pulling his shirt back and banging on the chest. He was absolutely savage. He was so in the zone. I believe if there was 3 or 4 more minutes, he would have got 100. Kobe absolutely lost his mind in that game. He was insane. He literally went insane in that game. Um, VHS Hip Hop, where you been? What you gonna spin at the gig, KP? Well, it's a dance party, classic music, and I'm playing all 45s, so it's gonna be a lot of 80s, 70s, 80s funk, disco. We're gonna throw in some hip hop, maybe a little reggae, but I'm bringing a lot of um classic 80s jams. 'Cause it's like outside. It's almost like a skating rink type thing. James Brown, Funky Good Time, talking over the music. James is always having conversations with the band. Yeah, he could have been the one that invented that. I think Funky Good Time came out after Marvin Gaye, though. Got to Give It Up had talking in it, yep. But I'm even going back to What's Going On. Marvin Gaye icon died penniless after sharing a disturbing final words. I didn't get a chance to read that book. Um, the book detailing his life, but he had a very troubled life. The drugs and everything. Jamaican funk, Canadian style with Michi Me. I was thinking of Jamaica funk, the R&B record, so I was wrong. Jackson Watkins, Kobe wanted to break Wilt's record. He sure did. Um, he sure did. I think he would have. If that song went into overtime or something, um, he would have did. He was in the zone. Kenny, many James Brown records, they were talking in the background before Marvin Gaye did What's Going On. Gonna have a funky good time. James was having a full convo with the band, yeah. But is that before What's Going On was like 71. So is Gonna Have a Funky Good Time? Is that before 71? That's a great record, by the way. Gotta take you higher. Is that before 71? When did that song come out? KP, you mentioned that you had your box. Did you ever call it a boom box? I had a discussion about this with a friend about how we never called a boom box or ghetto blaster, which I hate. Yeah, you're right. I never heard ghetto blaster or boom box. I believe the box came from boom box, but by the time I heard it, it was just a box. We used to just say a box. I never heard anyone say boom box or ghetto blaster. I never heard that unless it was like on a record or something. Um, Funk Doobie says Tom Brown, Jamaica Funk also has to do with the Jamaica Queens musicians like Menard Wright, yeah, who was on it. Check the credits, including Tom Brown. There was a dope doc on YouTube. I think I saw that about these guys. I think they went to school together or something. I think I saw that. Um, all right. I'm kind of right. I'm in real time right now. Uh, I remember this game. Kobe scored 60 and sat out the fourth quarter before. I saw that. He was on one that day too. And Kobe has no problems taking 10 shots in a row either. He doesn't care. Like, some people will be like, I've took a lot of shots. Let me get other people involved. Kobe, if he was feeling it, it was over. Mike Rock says Jackson took him out because he was going to break Wilt's record. I don't know about that. I think the game was over. I don't think there was enough time to break Wilt's record, but um, and you don't want somebody getting hurt chasing a record. Let's see. Am I at the bottom? No. Thought I was. We are in overtime, y'all. I'm gonna get a couple more comments and I'm out. Yeah, that's the name of the record. Doing It to Death. That a JB's released in 63. Gonna have a funky good time. That's 1963? Are you sure about that? The song is called Doing It to Death. 1963? That doesn't even sound like a song from 63. Yeah, 73. Yeah, that sounds more like it. So 73, um, yeah. So that means what's going on came out even before that. I don't know who invented it, but in popular music, I'm gonna go with Marvin on that. Um, uh, wait a minute, this is what I wanted. Mo Cheeks, fifth top point guard. I don't know if I got Mo Cheeks. I don't Mo. I like Mo Cheeks on the Sixers, but he wasn't even a top in that era because I would have Archibald over him. Tony Archibald led the league in scoring and assists. I think he was the only one ever to do that. Um, when he was on the Celtics, I gotta go back and really think about my '80s point guards. But Mo Cheeks was dope, but I wouldn't put him over I wouldn't have him at 5. Me personally. Um, Orlon, here we go. Silk Child, thank you so much. KP, did you hear the Adam Clayton Powell Jr. story? Talk about a messed up individual personally. No, I didn't hear his story. I know he has a street named after him in Harlem, but no, I did not hear his story. I got to look into that. I like those kind of historical things. I got to look into that. Uh, this is the Kenny Parker Show. We are in overtime. We are about to check off any minute. Oh, the glove is the best and first point guard to win Defensive Player of the Year. Word else. The glove was an actual point guard. I would put him in there over Steph Curry only because I don't consider Steph Curry a point guard. The glove. I could put the glove at 5. Is he over Chris Paul? Is he over Chris Paul? Chris Paul is up there. Is he over Chris Paul? Kevin Johnson was a great point guard. Yes, he was. I have him in that. I have him in that category with like Mark Price. Steve Nash was a great point guard and a 2-time MVP. He should really be in the conversation. Steve Nash got 2 MVPs. I don't have him in my 5, but he was great. I have Kevin Johnson in there with like Mark Price, Tim Hardaway. I have him in that pile. Mark Jackson. Kyrie Irving is great. Professor Nate Archibald, Allen Iverson. Allen, I don't consider AI a point guard. He's a 2 guard. Because a lot of time, his best years is when Snow ran the point, right? When Snow was his backup, was his backcourt mate. Snow didn't shoot at all unless he was wide open. Snow would just bring it up. He was solid and give it to AI. He was the perfect guard for AI. Um, I don't have AI as a point guard. Um, let's see. KP Denizzi says Kevin Johnson could have been a great point guard, but he always had a knee. Yeah, he's always hurt. He was tough. He was tough. Yeah, how can we not remember Kyrie? I know, right? Kyrie is up there. I said Jason Kidd. I said Jason Kidd. He's one of my. I think he's in the top 3 or 4 pastors that ever lived. I said Magic, Isaiah, J. Kidd, Cousy, and I was looking for a 5th, and somebody said the glove, and I'm going with the glove. And I said, like I said, Oscar Robinson. I said Oscar Robinson. I didn't see Oscar Robinson, but he to me he was like a big guard that just bullied people. um, from the highlights I saw, Kuzi was really like doing some craziness, throwing it. I think he was like the first dude to be throwing it behind his back and all that. That's why I put Kuzi up there. Um, Absolutely, I love Jason Kidd. Um, where do you rank Kenny Anderson? Kenny Anderson was dope, point guard. I wouldn't put him in that level. I have him with like Mark Jackson, those guys, Strickland, good point guards. I see somebody mentioned Derek Harper. These are good point guards. Um, I wouldn't put them at the on that upper echelon. All right, y'all. I am getting out of here. Once again, for those that's just checking in, this is the Kenny Parker Show. I will not be here next Tuesday. We're going to move Tuesday to Wednesday. That's what I'm looking at right now. Um, I will remind you guys again on Friday, God willing, we all will be here on Friday. Let's get it popping. Um, and it's 2026, by the way. Happy New Year to anybody who I didn't give a chance to say that to. And I am getting out of here. Cynthia, is always good to see you on the stream. Um, all right, I'm out of here, y'all. I'll catch you guys on Friday. Peace out.